Today we have some speakers and a panel on funding opportunities for the craft community in Atlantic Canada. Joining us will be Brenda Stratton with Newfoundland and Labrador Industry, Energy and Technology, Susan Jeffries from Nova Scotia Communities Culture and Heritage, Claire Gulliver with New Brunswick Tourism Heritage and Culture, Sarah Jonathan Parker with New Brunswick Arts Board, and Shannon Pratt with Innovation PEI. So maybe we can start with Brenda. I believe, Brenda, you were going to have some slides.
Yes.
So you can go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So I am the craft sector specialist for the provincial government. I work with individual craftspeople and organizations in the province that work to bring the industry forward. So this is going to be interesting because I can't see all my words. Oh, wait, no, I think I know how to do that. Hang on. Okay. So I work with the Department of Industry, Energy, and Technology. We are the lead for innovation, economic development, and diversification programs to support business and sector development in the craft and gift industry include the Business Development Support Program, the Business Investment Program, Regional Development Program, Product Review Process, and I also work with individual clients in any way that I can. I should note that we are currently in caretaker mode until a new government is elected. I think this is day 65. So we understand that the new government will be proclaimed on Saturday, and after that they'll be sworn in. So up until that point, we are not doing any approvals, but we are certainly accepting applications. So the department provides a variety of programs and funding opportunities that support key industries in Newfoundland and Labrador, and one of those key industries, of course, is craft. The Business Development Support Program assists Newfoundland and Labrador small and medium-sized enterprises with opportunities to increase their productivity and improve their competitiveness, and is targeted towards businesses that are normally focused on export markets and or improving import substitution. Funding is available for productivity improvements, knowledge development, market development, and or professional technical advice. Sorry. The Business Development Support Program is a non-repayable contribution to a maximum amount of $100,000 per year. The contribution level is usually 50% of eligible costs. Contribution levels, however, have been temporarily increased for eligible projects, and that will be until the end of March. The government will pay 75% towards your project, with you having to come in with 25%. That's a mistake there on my slide. We support craft and gift businesses to do things like develop new websites, improve new websites, develop marketing materials, hire photographers or videographers. We've even supported some craftspeople recently who've traveled as far as Japan to improve their skills, and as far as Rome, Italy, to do the same thing. And there is the web page, which I can put in the chat later. The Business Investment Program provides term loans and equity investments to small and medium-sized enterprises. The fund is also available to businesses which have export potential and require assistance to enter or expand in external markets. Funds are provided to complement funding from conventional sources where a need has been demonstrated, and are also intended to increase the capital base of businesses, allowing them to leverage new private sector investments. I'm reading very quickly through that part. I've never actually written a loan but our department has economic development officers around the province who are more than happy to work with craft and gift producers if they want to explore the business investment program. The Regional Development Program provides support to organizations by way of a non-repayable contribution for projects aimed at supporting economic development, sectoral development, innovation, and capacity building throughout the province. This type of programming would apply to the Craft Council of Newfoundland and Labrador, the Anna Templeton Center for Art, Craft, and Design, and other organizations around the province who are working to promote craft. We also provide a yearly contribution to our sector organization partner, the Craft Council of Newfoundland and Labrador, and that contribution is intended to assist the Craft Council to carry out its yearly work plan. We also provide funding to Craft Alliance. Sorry guys, another typo. Oh no, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We provide funding to the Craft Council to organize the annual Craft and Gift Wholesale Show, and to Craft Alliance to carry out projects including the Craft East Buyers Expo. Forgot to tell you I was going to put that in. We also provide a service known as product review. Craft and gift producers can submit their work to our department for review. It's not a yes or a no. It's really just a way to provide constructive feedback. The review committee consists of representatives from our department, well, me, the Craft Council, individual makers who bring in their own expertise in different mediums, and the retail community. And we review products and promotional materials and provide feedback. Products are assessed on design, quality, marketability, and originality or authenticity. I wanted to talk a little bit about the craft industry strategy. In 2017, the Craft Council, the Anna Templeton Center for Craft Art and Design, College of the North Atlantic, the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, and our department came together to develop a strategy for our industry. 3 primary strategic directions include enhancing the profitability of craftspeople, maximizing and expanding markets, and understanding economic and customer value. The Craft Strategy Implementation Committee is now meeting regularly to discuss a new or revised strategy to address the current needs of the industry due to the pandemic. First steps will include focus group discussions, which we hope to organize early in the new fiscal year, sometime in April. We, our department and another department, the government, we came up with 3 programs to help businesses and organizations and cultural workers over this very hard year. They included the Tourism and Hospitality Support Program, which was launched last June. There were 1,561 applicants, and so far we've approved 1,181. Of those, there were 101 retail operations, which would include craft and gift makers. And they were approved in this category. Those support programs provided between $5,000 and $10,000. The Small Business Assistance Program was launched in October. 4,571 applications were received, and to date, 3,379 have been approved. Of those, 391 were retail operations, and those would have included craft and gift producers. We were all one department, but in September we were separated. So tourism went to the Tourism, Culture, and Recreation Department, and they initiated the Artist Support Program sometime in the fall. Approximately 500 applications have been processed and approved. Those programs have now been closed, but I'm sure many of my colleagues are hoping something will be offered in the new fiscal year. And that's it. I don't know if anyone has any questions. And I don't know how to, oh, stop share.
Yeah, Greg is going to monitor Q&A for us,
Okay,
and people can put that in the Q&A
okay,
or the chat, actually, if they have any specific questions.
okay.
That's great. Thank you. A lot going on in Newfoundland and Labrador. I can't
Yeah.
believe the number of applications you people have processed.
I know.
That's-
The tourism was mostly for any craft or gift producer that may have had a studio that was open to the public and part of the tourism industry. And then, of course, anyone who didn't fit that category could then apply to the small business assistance program. It's been just so busy, but very rewarding.
Great.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Susan Jeffries, would you like to go next?
So there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're good.
Great.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't have a presentation like Brenda. I'm going to speak to tell you a little bit about our department. So we are the Department of Communities, Culture and Heritage. I particularly work in a division called Culture and Heritage Development. Within this area of the department, we're funding is the primary business that we conduct. So within our division, we have responsibility for operating funding for arts and cultural organizations. We have support available to screenwriters through screenwriting programs. We provide operating assistance to museums. We also provide assistance for heritage properties. And then we have a very special program that is in its about to start its 6th year, and that's the Creative Industries Fund. And the Creative Industries Fund was developed in 2015, and it is the primary source in our division for support for craft. The program itself is open actually to many disciplines, including fashion, design, film, music, performing arts, production, craft, of course, visual applied arts, and publishing. So it's fairly broad in terms of what creative industries are supported. The value of the fund is $2.1 million. And we also have additional support that we make available in the department for industry development. And through that, we have operating assistance that we provide to some of the organizations that you may all work with, the Craft Alliance being one, Cape Breton Centre for Craft and Design, Craft Nova Scotia. So the operating support that comes from Nova Scotia to them from the province is administered through our division. I'll talk a little bit about what our past year has been, because obviously, Brenda's touched on that and what we've been able to do for the sector in support of everything that has happened as a result of COVID. Of course, our fiscal year begins in April. So in April 2020, we were obviously weeks into COVID. Our programs were not actually opened at that time. What we did do early into the summer was we created a special stream in the Creative Industries Fund to identify what we were hearing were needs for organizations to build their digital competency and digital footprint. So what we did very early on was we created a digital fund. We brought that forward to the Nova Scotia, to the creative industry sector and to the arts sector broadly. Which enabled them to build digital capacity. So we did have quite a few craft organizations, fashion, others, come to us for support for things to help them to pivot to grow their business in areas where they could no longer, find support, i.e., and you all know, the challenges, wholesale, retail. So we were able to open up that program and provided almost $1 million in funding in 2020 to support those digital pivot projects. We also, through general arts and culture support, we had another fund created called the COVID-19 Arts and Cultural Emergency Fund, which was $2.1 million. We provided assistance to organizations across Nova Scotia to come to us in their words and their to tell us what they needed in order to keep the doors open or to keep them closed. There was very little restrictions on what you could apply for support for. So we provided some assistance in late fiscal actually to 96 organizations as a whole to continue to do what they wanted to do to stay open or to just continue to operate generally. Where we are right now, it's 1 week left in our fiscal. We are working hard to develop programming for 2021. We are still taking into account what is, very serious situation among our arts and cultural organizations. We're looking at support in 2021 on a sector by sector basis. I'll give you information when I'm finished chatting about the program. There's some consultations that are happening that we invite the craft community to. I'll share that information with you if you don't already have it. But what we learned from 2020 in terms of the priorities from the craft sector as we know it right now is that we think there will be a continued need for developing digital capacity in some way. So our plans for the Creative Industries Fund is to continue to offer support for digital presence for organizations. That could be anything from obviously your website, e-commerce, developing skills among your organization, any kind of digital adaptation that you may need to make. Certainly, we hope there might be some export activity later in the year. We'll continue to offer support if that should happen. Late fall into the spring of 2022. But generally, the program has never been very prescriptive. We've left the needs or determining the needs up to the applicant. And our applications are open to both for-profit businesses as well as nonprofit organizations and associations. We also will continue, as the fund has always done, to help build brand awareness. If you needed skill development assistance, and again, it helps build capacity to export generally. And again, as I say, a lot of the support that we've seen, we've been able to provide has certainly been in the digital space. So we anticipate those needs will continue. So the applications for 2021, we're just working through developing those now. I would say they will be available before the end of April. We work on a non-deadline basis at the moment. It's basically an ongoing rolling application. We may create deadlines in 2021. I have not made that final decision yet to do that, but I will certainly share, the details around the guidelines as soon as they become available. Other than that, really, like I said, the program we think has made quite a difference in terms of being able to provide that support that's needed to help grow export capacity. It's a proposal-based program, and we certainly work closely with all of the craft centers and associations like Bernie's to continue to tell us and bring to us organizations that could need assistance from Nova Scotia. And we also, of course, through the great work that the Craft Association does, are supportive of all of the export missions and showcasing that's being done through the Craft Alliance. We also worked in the past quite closely with the Craft Alliance to help you get to those shows. And I know a lot of that's still happening virtually, so it's exciting to hear that some of the momentum is still being able to happen. So I'll leave it at that, and I certainly invite any questions, and I will make sure that Bernie and everyone on the call knows how to reach us here at CHD for any questions you have about our programs.
Oh, that's great, Susan. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
We appreciate that. Yeah, I think the digital fund money in Nova Scotia was really valuable, and I think a lot of our crafts producers were able to take advantage of that. So that was excellent. Yeah,
we appreciate being able to support that part of it.
Great. So let's move on to Claire Gulliver with New Brunswick Tourism Heritage and Culture.
Hi,
Claire,
sure.
Oh, hi, Claire. Good to see you.
Thanks so much for inviting me to participate. So my name is Claire Gulliver. I'm a program consultant with the New Brunswick Department of Tourism, Heritage and Culture in the Arts and Culture branch. I'm also the Public Art Coordinator, and I am going to share my screen here. Just one moment. Okay, can everyone see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes, okay, perfect. So I'm going to present on just a few of our programs that we have that I thought would be most relevant to craftspeople and artists in general. We have a lot of different programs here at the branch, and I think we have 6 or 7 program consultants. So I'm Claire Gulliver. These are some of my focus areas. So craft is one, public art. We also have an arts and communities program. I do some work on Fresh Air Artisan Residence. And then I'm also going to highlight a program that my colleague Daniel Hogan manages. And I just wanted to say that if anyone does have a project idea who's based in New Brunswick, feel free to get in touch with us. If we don't have a program for it, we might know somewhere that does. So all of our funding program information can be found online on the gnb.ca website under the Culture tab. So that's a great place to just familiarize yourself with some of the programs that we have. And if you need any help navigating or finding a certain program, you can always get in touch. So the first program that I'm going to highlight is the Fine Craft Industry Development Program. So this is a program that was developed for fine craft entrepreneurs who are based in New Brunswick. And there's no deadline to this program, so you can apply at any time, though I will say that our fiscal years run April 1st to March 31st. So we do tend, our budgets renew in April, and we do tend to have more amounts of money that are available earlier in the year. So if you know you have a project coming up, that's always a good thing to keep in mind. So there are 2 components to this program. There's the professional development and mentorship component, and that can provide funding for attending workshops or skills training, to have a mentorship opportunity with industry professionals. We also have a market development component where you can attend virtual and in-person sales or industry events. So if you wanted to attend an event like Craft East, or if you wanted to, I guess it's not as relevant this year, but if you wanted to attend an international conference or a conference somewhere else in Canada, we can provide funding for that. We can provide funding to help develop wholesale opportunities, strategic marketing initiatives. So if you have a new idea, like creating promotional videos for your craft, or if you want to develop new branding materials, like an online portfolio or developing a new website, we can provide funding for that. So we can cover up to 50% of eligible project expenses to a maximum of $2,000 for an individual or $4,000 for a group for the professional development and mentorship component. And we can, right. So I wanted to give an example project. So this was a New Brunswick stone carver, Isabella Fagan, who participated in a stone carving intensive workshop in Spain. So it was a 3-week workshop that was run by a master sculptor, and it was about hand carving in alabaster. And the artist had not worked in alabaster before, so it was a great way to expand their practice and to learn alongside sculptors from all over the world. So this was a project that we funded in 2019. So for a market development component, we can cover up to 50% of eligible project expenses to a maximum of $6,000. And that can include things like hiring a professional photographer to document your work, to create product catalogs, like I said, accessing new wholesale opportunities, or attending events where you can interact with a new market. So one of the project examples here is Mi'kmaq Designs by Ingrid Brooks was invited to participate in 2019 at the International Indigenous Fashion Week in Paris. So the Indigenous shows featured artists from across Canada, the United States, and other parts of the world. And there was also a booth space that the artist was able to create a stand-up display and use their marketing materials. So that is one type of project that we could fund. We also had artist Fabiola Martinez, who's a New Brunswick-based visual artist, wanted to create a new version of her website and develop her portfolio to approach galleries. And that is a type of project that we can also support. Collection Art NB is another program that we have, which is managed by my colleague Danielle Hogan. So this is New Brunswick's public art collection. and it's referred to as a working collection. So the pieces regularly tour on exhibition to public schools as well as art galleries. And work is acquired from contemporary New Brunswick artists every 2 years. This is open to emerging artists, mid-career and senior artists who have been New Brunswick residents for at least 12 months. And a jury of arts professionals select the work. So if you have more questions about collection art NB, I would encourage you to reach out to Danielle Hogan. We also have a public art policy for New Brunswick. So this is a new policy that was created in 2018, and I'm the public art coordinator, so I help manage projects within the policy. So in new government builds or renovations, there's now a percentage of the construction budget that goes towards acquiring public artworks from New Brunswick professional artists. So periodically you'll see a call for artists go out on our GNB website, and those are opportunities where artists can submit proposals to have public art in government spaces. So this was the most recent piece. This was The Place We Gather by Brendan Mitchell and Charlie Gaffney at the Mount Carlton Lodge. We also have a couple of Artisan Residence programs, the new Fresh Air program, which is an initiative that we're partnering with Artisan, and the parks portion of our department. So this is going to be launching tomorrow, and we are planning on having 10 sites where an artist can spend 5 days in the site and work on their creative practice and engage with the public, and they receive an artist fee of $3,000. So the application deadline is April 23rd, and we would invite New Brunswick professional artists to apply. We also have an Artisan Residence in the Schools program. This is a program that my colleague Buntavi New manages, and this funds art projects in the Anglophone school districts that are a collaboration between one or more teachers and one or more artists. So this is a minimum of a 3-day, 15-hour residency that includes at least one performance, a mini exhibit or live demo. And the artists, we would encourage artists to register for the artist registry that is on our GNB website, because it's a way for schools to have a look at what artists are out there and who they might be interested in collaborating with. So this is my contact information, and if you have any project ideas or questions about any of our programs, feel free to get in touch. And there is also our link to our website. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Claire. That was wonderful. It's great to hear about a public art acquisition program. That's amazing.
Yeah, exciting.
Are you able to share what the value of that is on an annual basis, or does it fluctuate based on sort of what projects are going on at any given time?
Sure. So it depends on the site. The percentage of the construction budget, it changes. So for schools, the budget is $50,000. And for the piece that I showed from Brandon Mitchell and Charlie Gaffney, that was a $31,500 project. Some of the larger builds, like hospitals, those can be opportunities for $250,000 budgets. So it's very exciting. It's a new policy. But if anyone would like to discuss it, I'm happy to chat.
Oh, great. So a hospital would be like a large installation piece of some kind.
Yeah, it would. We haven't done one of those yet, but it would either be a large installation for the full budget, or it could be several pieces from either one artist or several artists.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Sarah Jonathan Parker with New Brunswick Arts Board.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. So my name is Sarah Jonathan Parker. You can call me SJ. I work at the New Brunswick Arts Board, also known as Arts NB. I am the program officer for Arts NB, so I am sort of responsible for all of our different grant programs. I am going to just take you over to the Arts NB website and talk you through a little bit of where you can find information that you might be looking for as a artist in the craft discipline. So Arts NB supports a different kind of type of activity by and large than the government of New Brunswick that you just heard from Claire Gulliver about. So Arts NB does not have like market development or like industry development, marketing kind of production craft sales oriented programs, but we do support fine craft as an artistic discipline for artists who are looking to create new work that's destined for gallery exhibition, who've been invited to exhibitions of their work, who are participating in residencies or workshops or other types of training related to developing their creation capacities. So not necessarily like marketing training or anything like that, but training specifically in the practice of your craft and the creation of work. So I'm here on the ArtsMB website. You'll see we have a grants page. I'll give just like a 10-second definition of each of these programs so you have an idea what each of them is. Artisan Residence is our only program for organizations. If you're a New Brunswick-based organization who is hosting an Artisan Residence, you can apply for funding through this program. Comes around once a year in February. The Arts Infrastructure Grant for new and emerging artists may be of interest to emerging craftspeople or craftspeople who are new to Canada. This is a program to allow you to purchase capital equipment. That could be a kiln, a loom, other types of tools, studio renovations, the kinds of things that you often can't get funding for through other grants. It's a capital equipment fund. It goes up to $2,500, and there's a deadline coming up on August 1st. Art Scholarships is our grant program for mostly students or artists who have not yet achieved professional artist status. Maybe your work has not yet been exhibited publicly. You're more at a student level. We have a scholarships program. Career development can support travel grants if you've been invited to exhibit your work somewhere, residencies, professional development, and also some portfolio development, including a few similar things to what Claire Gulliver was just mentioning about photographs of your work for your portfolio, for your website. The core difference is that for ArtsMB, that would be entirely geared towards enabling your online presence to help you apply for exhibitions, apply for further arts funding, and not motivated by kind of sales direction or marketing direction. So that's a little bit of where that distinction is. The Creation Grant Program is actually our flagship program. This is what supports artists with subsistence and living allowance expenses, materials costs, for the creation of new work. Once again, this is work that is that has the intention of being created for a gallery or exhibition context, as opposed to a production line or context. So this is an opportunity that we often in the craft discipline will see people coming along and saying, so I've been doing my production line work for a certain amount of time, and I really would like to be able to cut back on that for a period of 6 months in order to work on developing some work that is intended for gallery exhibition as part of my fine craft kind of artistic practice. And that's what the creation program can help with. Creative Residencies in Quebec is a funding program specific to residencies you might be participating in that are happening in Quebec. Documentation is related to the production of sort of large-scale documentary projects, whether books or film, about a particular artistic discipline or a particular artist in New Brunswick, including potentially craft as a discipline or craft artists as the subject of that documentation. The Equinox program for Indigenous artists is a program that is open to Indigenous artists and is funding decisions are made by a jury of Indigenous artists. So there's a sort of self-determination aspect to that program. There's one deadline per year currently on September 15th, and it's a grant of up to $5,000 that can go towards creation of new work, training and mentorship opportunities, organizing or hosting gatherings of other Indigenous artists, and it's quite a flexible program. So if you're an Indigenous artist in New Brunswick in craft or any other discipline, and you have a project idea, we can discuss how that might be a fit for the program. Finally, we do have accessibility and equity programs to assist with basically providing top-up funds if there are specific disability-related costs to carrying out a project, or if you're facing disability-related barriers to completing an online grant application, or if you're an Indigenous artist facing geographic, language, or cultural barriers to completing an online grant application, we have additional funding available for that. So there's an overview of our grant programs. As I mentioned, I'm the only program officer at ArtsMB. So any questions that you have, I'll be the person that you're speaking with. You can find contact information on our website here. You don't need an appointment or anything to get in touch with me. You can just call or email. And I also hold open Zoom office hours the second and fourth Friday afternoon of each month. You can find the links for those on all of our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And that is about it for me. So thanks for your attention, and I will look forward to hearing from you.
Great. Thank you, SJ. That's wonderful. I'm curious about the infrastructure. Is that available to emerging artists as well?
Exactly. So the idea is that it's specifically for either emerging artists, which means generally artists who have less than 5 years of professional practice. And if you have questions about meeting that particular criteria, I can look at your CV and we can talk it through. And it's also open to newcomers to Canada who may have more years of experience than that overall, but have been in Canada for less than 5 years and are currently New Brunswick residents. And yeah, so that's who it's aimed towards. It's trying to bridge that gap, that sort of early career or new arrival gap where you've maybe lost access to some equipment that you had available through school or somewhere else.
And I think that's great, especially for artists coming out of art colleges, and they're used to
exactly
the previous 4 years using the equipment of the college, right, and not having access to a kiln or other technical equipment. So
exactly.
Yeah,
so we do see a fair amount of craft applicants in that particular program for that exact reason, that there's often pretty significant equipment needs that you might have. So that is coming up on April 1st, and I'm happy to chat about it one-on-one.
Great. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. So up next would be Shannon Pratt with Innovation PEI. Hi, Shannon.
Hey, everybody. Sorry, I'm going to turn my volume just a tiny bit. Hope that helps you. So, hey, everyone. I'm Shannon Pratt. I'm the Creative Industries Development Officer with the province of Prince Edward Island. I work out of Innovation PEI, which is under the Department of Economic Growth, Tourism, and Culture. As the Creative Industries Development Officer, I work basically with all our creative industries on the development and growth of those industries. I work predominantly with our industry associations, so like the Crafts Council and IELA in particular. As far as supports that are available for folks who are working in the craft industry, there's a number of supports that are available through Innovation PEI. I might not necessarily be the person you will deal with, though. We have business development officers within this space that would most likely be your point of contact. But everything is up on our website, and I'll share the link here in a second for all the different programs. I'm not going to get into too many specifics on programs simply because we're in the middle of a program review right now, and I don't want to tell you about a specific program and then have the name or something change and have people be, confused or flustered or whatever. But if you check on our website, I would say like mid-April, everything should be there and it should be correct by that point. But yeah, there's a few changes happening. But the types of activities that are supported historically and will be moving forward, there's support for web presence assistance, which includes building e-commerce sites, professional services, like if you need to hire a bookkeeper or something, marketing assistance. There is a loan program through Finance PEI, which is housed upstairs in our building. It used to be called the Winter Loan Program, now it's just called the Loan Program. And then in addition to that, we have a few other like individual type programs that I work on directly. So we have our Arts Grants Program, our Indigenous Arts Grants Program. We have our Art Bank and our Indigenous Art Bank. And with the art banks, those are all working collections that there's an investment made every year. And those pieces are on display in public areas across the island. And this year's version is currently being juried, so I'm very excited to see who they select. This piece is actually part of our art bank and is going to go out to its new home soon, but for now I get to keep it, and it's by Heather Miller, and I love it. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I'll post a link to where you can find the information about our different funding programs, and if anybody has any questions, just hit me up. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Shannon. The loan program you mentioned, is that actually administered through Innovation PEI, or is it a different department?
It's through Finance PEI.
Oh, I see. Okay. So that used to be, you had mentioned that they used to call it the winter loan program.
Yeah.
So-
A lot of craft workers had accessed it when it was called the winter loan program. The name of it's changed, but the nature of the program has not changed.
Right, sure. So a lot of craftspeople use that like bridge financing so they can buy raw materials in the off season so that they can prepare for the next season.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, great. William has actually posted that in the chat, so everyone has access to it. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? Greg, is there anything in the chat that we should be asking our panelists?
Nothing's come in during any of these talks. I think everybody's overview has been really comprehensive as to what their programs have been. So I'm assuming everybody's happy, but if you have any questions, now's the time.
Our digital person, William, is he's putting a link in for everything that everybody has mentioned. So
William's been thorough,
yeah.
in dropping all the links.
So that's been excellent.
Hey, Bernie, it's Sue. I'm going to send William a link to the Creative Nova Scotia Leadership Council craft consultation sessions, if he wouldn't mind sharing it with your group. Is that okay?
Yeah, great. Yeah, for
All
sure.
right, I was going to send it to him right now. Thanks,
Thank
William.
you. So can we circulate that to the broader community?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
Thank
What
you.
we'll probably do is, I think, send a follow-up email to everybody who registered for the session and just include the main links to everybody's site where their funding assistance information is located. And in addition to that one, and if any of our panelists have any extra links that they want us to share too, send them along and we'll make sure to include that.
And we've been recording all our sessions from all our online activities, and they're all going to be posted on our YouTube channel, which is Craft Alliance Atlantic. So they'll be up there. And tomorrow we have, I guess, 2 sessions in the morning, and we have a double session tomorrow afternoon on digital technology and digital platforms that we're going to be doing. So if anybody that's participating this afternoon hasn't registered already, you can do that on our website as well. So thank you very much, everyone. We really appreciate your time and sharing your provincial information with us. It's really appreciated. And we hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
Bye.